date for their field trip from January 30th to February 1st. Can I get a motion to approve the amendment?
From when to when?
January 30th to February 1st.
I'll make a motion, that we approve 9 days. So loud. What are you doing? Where's Kirby?
I'll second it. I'll second it.
Kirby's trying to get me.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with, what do you say, left,
One absent?
one absent. Could I get I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as amended. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries with one abstain. Not abstained, absent, yeah. We're gonna convene the closed session. we're gonna reconvene to open session for the report of action taken in closed session. The resignation of Dr. Louise Elena Perez has been accepted pursuant to a voluntary separation agreement. We wish her the best of luck in her future endeavors. And A1, case 2223-01 SE. It's an action roll call vote. So I make a motion to approve case number 222301 SE. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
And roll call vote.
Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Trustee Chimino?
Yes.
Trustee Gillis?
Yes.
Trustee Nelson?
Yes.
Trustee Wing?
Yes.
And then case number 2223-02-SD. I make a motion to approve. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
Roll call vote.
Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Trustee Chimino?
Yes.
Trustee Gillis?
Yes.
Trustee Nelson?
Yes.
Trustee Wing?
Yes.
And then we have some students from Richard Crane who are going to be doing the flag salute. Abigail, Karina, Bella, and where's the? Oh, okay.
Please stand. Put your right hand over your heart. To the pledge of the allegiance to the flag in the United States of America, to the republic of which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice of all.
Abigail, I have this for you, a certificate for Abigail. And here's a pin. Thank you very much. And then Karina, I have a pin and a certificate for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And Bella, I have a certificate and a pin for you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to move on to presentations with from Richard Crane Elementary School on PBIS.
Our three flag salute leaders are also going to be presenting and informing us on the PBIS program at Richard Crane. I'm really excited. As you can see, we're shifting to our students presenting what wonderful things are happening at their school. And so I'm excited to see our presenters tell us about positive behavior intervention systems at Richard Crane.
All right. Well, good evening, trustees and Dr. Perez. Thank you for this opportunity for us to share with you what we're doing at Richard Crane with PBIS. Our goal is to create an optimum learning environment for our students as well as our staff. And our site goal is to decrease office referrals as well as build connections with our school. So tonight we have our three students who will share with you what PBIS looks like and feels like at Richard Crane.
Good evening. My name is Bella, and I am in 4th grade.
Good evening. I am Abigail, and I am in 5th grade.
Good evening. My name is Karina, and I am in 4th grade.
At Richard Crane, we are a PBIS school. PBIS stands for Positive Behavioral Interventions and Support. Students at our school know it as how to be respectful, safe, and responsible. It is important for everyone to know what is expected at this school. When everyone is respectful, we get along with each other. When everyone is safe, people don't get hurt. When we are responsible, our classroom and school runs smoothly. Our three school-wide expectations are be respectful, be safe, and be responsible. Each location at our school has expectations that explain what it looks like to be respectful, safe, and responsible in that location.
To help remind everyone how to be respectful, safe, and responsible, there are posters throughout our school with the expectations. We also have voice levels for each location. This way, if an adult asks us to use a level 2 voice, we know what that means. We are using a level 3 voice level now for our presentation. Each year,
Okay.
Each year, our Walkathon t-shirts highlight our school-wide expectations. We also have posters to remind us, and each month our students are recognized for being respectful, safe, and responsible.
students receive awards for being respectful, safe, and responsible on campus. Every month at our school assembly, the class that collects the most awards gets to display the Cougar Cub trophy in their classroom. We won it last month. Students can also receive a super award for doing something above and beyond. If you receive a super award, you get to sign a poster in the office and get to select a book from our book vending machine. In every classroom, we have a break or a reset area. Students can use this area to help them get ready to learn if they are feeling upset, anxious, or sad. We are also learning about the zones of regulation to describe how we are feeling. You can be in the blue, green, yellow, or red zone. We are learning that feelings are natural and what tools to use to manage those feelings.
A few weeks ago, Richard Crane practiced our expectations throughout the campus at our yearly passport activity. 4th or 5th grade students led stations where they reviewed what it looks like to be respectful, safe, and responsible. It was fun to teach this school, and the younger students were excited to learn from the older students. Everyone received the Cougar Cub bag tag after completing their passport. Thank you for letting us share with you how we are working hard to make our school an amazing place to learn.
Thank you. I'll get that. Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much. Next, we're gonna get an update for the trustee area for vacant seat.
Okay, so today I'm going to review the 60-day procedure for our board vacancy. We have gone through some of this information. I want to provide you some different nuances that we have. So for tonight, I'm going to provide an overview of the 60-day procedure to fill the vacancy, and a lot of this information you're already aware of. So we'll talk about some of the differences. So here's some background information. Failure to elect, Education Code Section 5328 for trustee area 4. So we have to take action. So the action that the board can take within 60 days of November 8th is making a provisional appointment or calling an election. So basically, due on our timing of this vacancy, the provisional appointment is probably our best option, because I'll talk about a little bit later of what the next election days are in Sonoma County. So in terms of provisional appointment, first thing we need to do, that's already taken care of, is the board should give notice to the county superintendent. Dr. Harrington is aware, and we inform the county superintendent of the board's intent of what we expect to do as next steps. So step one, so how do we go through this provisional appointment? There are no specific timelines. There's that 60 days, but there's no specific timeline. We have to advertise in local media. You're all familiar because we've done this. We did this last month. We interview candidates at a public meeting, the board. We accept oral and written public input, and we select a provisional appointee by majority vote. So what we did essentially is we've done this work. We did not find someone, so you chose to table it and extend it for the 60 days. Here's a little bit of a difference. There needs to be established a committee of less than a quorum. So that means we need to identify 2 trustees that are going to serve on a committee of less than the quorum of the board to ensure applicants are eligible for board membership and the names of the eligible candidates. So I see this as kind of a paper screening. What are the statutory eligibility requirements? The person must be 18 years of age or older, a citizen of the state, a resident of trustee area 4 within the district as adopted by the board, a registered voter and is not disqualified by the Constitution or laws of the state for holding civil office. So we all know the eligibility criteria. So this quorum would come in and verify this of our applicants. Step 3 is the interview and selection of the provisional appointee. We have to do this in a public meeting, like we did on November 1st. We have to select a provisional appointee from the eligible candidates by a majority vote. We have to accept oral and written input. Again, there's no specific timeline, but we have these 60 days. And the board then votes to make the provisional appointment. And the interview process, in one of the nuances here, all the discussion and deliberation must be in open session, and one of the nuances here is we could interview candidates and make a provisional appointment at another meeting. Okay, so that's one difference. Anyway, but, and we have to make sure that we notice everybody and follow the Brown Act. So step 4, once we make this provisional appointment, there are requirements there. Public notice regarding vacancy and provisional appointment is required within 10 days after the appointment. The notices must be published in the local paper. We have to advertise, and we have to post this in 3 different areas in the district. And then what we need to include the notices, the date of the occurrence of the vacancy, the full name of the appointee, and the community could create a petition for a special election. And if it's filed with the county superintendent within 30 days of that provisional appointment, it shall become an effective appointment. So if we receive a petition, it could be possible that we're calling for an election. The community could do this. Otherwise, after 30 days, the provisional appointment sticks, and that person becomes a member of our board. Anyway, yes,
Quick question about that.
absolutely.
Like 60 days, and I know we don't have a 23 board calendar yet, but assuming we kind of follow the same that we did last year, there's not 30 days between the like if we appointed someone at the January meeting, there's not 30 days between the January and the February meeting. So would this person not sit until March, like they'd come to our March meeting?
If we don't receive, basically the person, once you make the provisional appointment, they're part of the board.
Okay, we don't have to wait for that.
Right, we don't have to wait for that. They would serve on the board, they would serve as a trustee. But if we got the petition, then we'd have to call for an election. But they become, once you make that provisional appointment, they become a member of the board.
So would that person be on the board until the election? Or does that person,
They would be on the board until the election.
until the election? Okay.
4 years from,
No.
No, the calling of the
And
election,
the calling
so.
of election. So if somebody
Okay.
did a petition and then wanted to go to election, and then, I don't know if election cycles are like June,
Yes.
June or November?
The
Or May, I guess if you can do a special election,
yes, let me.
costs more.
I have the dates. So the 2 election days that we have in Sonoma County in 2023 are March 7th, 2023, and November 7th, 2023.
And the cost for those versus we need to do what's right, but I mean, just so the cost for those elections would be what?
I have to find that out. I do not have that information currently,
Okay.
what the cost would be.
Okay.
So I can get that information for the board.
So this is saying if the board finds somebody and they appoint, within 30 days of that appointment, somebody could come forth and say, never mind, we want to have a special election. Would that person be sitting on the board then for those full 30 days? I think that was Leff's question. I just wanted to be clear.
Yes, they
Okay.
would serve. My understanding from the memo that we've received from our attorneys is that they become, once you make the provisional appointment and they're sworn in, they would serve on the board.
So if they were on the board for a week or two and someone came forth and said, we want a special election, that person would still serve until, say, either March 7th or whenever a special election date would be chosen.
Right.
It does have to be a petition though, so it's not like just one person can say,
Yeah.
No, it
I
has
don't
to
like
be a
the
certain
challenge.
percentage of registered
Yeah.
voters have to
So it would-
be, and then they have to all be validated. And then the other two quick questions I have, I asked this before and I don't know if we have an answer. How are you going to prove they're a resident of District 4?
So what we've done, and it was a little difficult, we contacted the Office of Voter Registration, and they would verify the address.
Okay, and then the same, they would tell you if someone's a registered voter?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
that's who we would go to.
The petition calling for a special election, is that a petition from Area 4?
Good question. I'd have to see if it's at large or Area 4.
seeing that we don't have people like knocking down our door for this, I would be very shocked if a handful, if 70% or whatever of the voting population decided. And if they do sign that petition, they better be putting their name in that too. I will be very shocked, and I have said this numerous times this term, so I probably shouldn't actually say it, but if this actually happened, so.
I thought, did we get anybody else turn anything in? Is that open in the last?
We have not. We stopped, and we're gonna start again. We'll go through the same process. County office has made suggestions, and we had advertised in the suggestions they made. The only difference that they recommended was a radio advertisement, which is interesting to me because I don't listen to live radio anymore. So I don't know how, we were certainly willing to try it. I don't know if that would get us more candidates.
I had a
I think
thought that
Facebook might.
it might work to find out how much it would cost to do a small postcard, go up to the Register of Voters, get the list of everyone in District 4, and send out something to everybody's mailbox in that district. What are there, 8,000? We just did the redistricting, but I can't remember.
It's registered voters, so that's probably not that many households.
Well, it's registered voters, and then you can make it by household instead of by individual voter.
Yeah, I wouldn't think that getting a postcard and getting it mailed out would cost too terribly much. And it might get the word out.
We do that for other things, for open enrollment or have you, so we would be able to do
It
that.
might be a way to get more people.
Yes.
Because I have a lot of people saying they didn't even know there was an election on November 8th, so.
We
and there
we
a
are
lot of
willing to
people that
try
don't
anything.
Pay attention. But with the number of people we had emailing us, calling our personal cell phones, texting us, that they cared and they wanted to be on the board, to have only 2 people show up is kind of concerning.
Thank you. Okay. So I did write down that you would like more information on cost of the election. Is it an at-large petition or from Area 4? And the suggestion of a postcard. I wanted to make sure I capture all that. So, board can also order a special election, and you have to take formal action through a resolution. The election needs to occur at the next regularly scheduled election, at least 130 days after the election is ordered. And here's where we state, here are the 2 dates that we have for the 2023 election dates in Sonoma County. Exactly. So, we could maybe be unsuccessful, we don't have an appointment, then the county superintendent is able to call for an election. There's only two scenarios in which this could happen. Scenario one, the board is unable to act within the 60 days to make a provisional appointment. And then the county superintendent of schools required to call a special election. The other scenario is a provisional appointment is made, and then there's a petition submitted calling for an election to fill the vacancy, and those are the two scenarios which the county superintendent can become involved and call an election.
Question about scenario one. If SCO has to call, or the county superintendent has to call a special election, do they have to pay for it?
I don't think so, but I will ask.
Okay, thank you.
But we saved money in this year's budget by not, did we not? Yeah. Well, already-
No other questions?
I did like that you said you could have two meetings, because I did feel last time it felt terribly rushed. You asked people questions and you had to make the decision right then and there, instead of being able to think about it, so.
We can certainly accommodate that, and, you know, if the Board of Trustees would like to do that, we are happy to do that and make it two meetings. You know, we even though we have 60 days, my concern is we have a lot of holidays, and we need to get this done by early January. But we could take a couple of meetings. I'm just gonna remind the board that all deliberations and all interviews have to happen in public, which is, you know, sometimes not always the most comfortable.
When you say it has to be done in public, does it have to be a regular board meeting, or can you call a special board
We
meeting?
can call a special board meeting.
So early January, we're already almost at Thanksgiving next week, and then we've got Christmas 2 weeks where everybody's gonna be busy. Early January seems pretty aggressive. I don't know if you're gonna make it to maybe end of January? Depending on how you're gonna advertise and all of that.
Right. You know, we are going to start immediately tomorrow with advertising. I wanted to provide you with the overview of the entire process. I wanted to get a legal opinion because I wanted to get it right. I didn't want to provide you with inaccurate information, and you provided me with some really good questions that I can go back and find out so that we can get this done.
Okay.
But immediately, we already have a planning meeting tomorrow to come up with the timeline and get going on this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One more question.
Yes.
Other districts are having similar problems. And let's say somebody from District 3 or 2 or 1, or you can't find anybody from District, this is 4. And then if someone comes forth from another district, have there been cases where boards have gone or districts have, let's say you have a viable candidate from another, you know, what's the law on that?
So we received, this was something very current, a recent kind of judgment, you know, from a judge our attorney shared with me, because I was saying, you know, we're having a little bit of difficulty in filling this position. And I don't want to be, the details, you know, I don't have the details in front of me, but what it states is it's all dependent on if there was an at-large election. So those of you that were elected in an at-large election, it is a possibility that if that occurred, we can have someone from the at-large election apply or be a provisional appointment if we do not find someone from trustee area 4. I do want to do more research to provide you with the specificity of the details, because this is something new, and I think it's new.
Yeah, brand new because of the redistricting.
Right, and I think it's new also because we are having some difficulty finding trustees, board members to serve. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, I know one of my sons who lives in Livermore for their school district is not, they haven't gone to districting, but they had like 8 people running for 3 spots type of thing. Have most of Sonoma County gone to redistricting?
I believe so. I do not, I know of one, you know, I was talking to one superintendent and they seem to be still doing at-large elections. And that was a conversation with Rincon Valley with Superintendent Smith. So I can get you that information also.
Yeah, just curious, so. All right, thank you.
I know one of the districts on the list, I can't remember which one off the top of my head, they don't even have a quorum. They have 3 open seats. Nobody came forward, and there's 3 others with 2. So what happens if you have no quorum? We're okay. But I think there's a total of 11 or 12 people that nobody stepped up.
Yeah, there are some districts have found trustees, but we are one that did not, so we will continue to search.
I need a signing bonus.
Any other questions for me? I think PBIS was much more exciting, but I hope you found this information valuable. I wanted to give you some more details and some of that we hadn't gotten in the past, so thank you.
Dr. Perez. So public comment, items not on the agenda. We have Cassandra who would like to say something.
Can you hear me okay? So, this is not a role I'm used to on this side of the podium, coming up for public comments, but it's apropos and appropriate. Someone has to come up and thank this board for the last service on it, especially for Joe and for Carissa. It's not easy work, and I want to be at least one of the people in the community that thanked you for stepping up in the election last time and serving your 4 years, making the school district better. And for Michelle and Mark and Leffler, your continued service is also appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Cassie.
Thank you.
27 cents left. Read it, 7A Student Board Members Report. We'll start with Naomi.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me. This month has been one of the many successful months Technology High School has had. Our Spirit Commissioner, Ella, did an excellent job at organizing the Spirit Week and Rally. The participation of my classmates and teachers was outstanding. It has been one of the most successful Spirit Weeks we've had. Friday was the last day, but we had the most spirit of the week. Tutus, ties, and tiaras were visible throughout campus. Every student made sure to include one, but mainly everyone did all 3. It was fun seeing everyone participate. In ASB, our main goal is to build community among the student body, and this event certainly made this possible. It brought students together and everyone was enjoying dressing up. It made us happy seeing our classmates get involved in the spirit Technology High School has to offer. This led to our rally. 2 performances took place. The first one was band and the second was drama. All of the performances were very lovely. As always, we made sure to include everyone. We had different grade students as hosts, encouraged everyone to participate in the various games we had. We had musical chairs, mummy rap, and scavenger hunt. We simply ended our rally with royal nominees and thanked the student body for their time. Homecoming was stunning. The committee did an incredible job organizing. The decorations were very impressive, with a beautiful photo background and masks hanging around the room for our masquerade ball theme. We provided a place that not only had music, but had a few tables that included games for students. Throughout the night, there was water provided, and attendees had the opportunity to purchase dinner from Taco San Juan truck that was parked outside. We ended homecoming by giving everyone a cupcake. Overall, that event was filled with so much joy from students. Everyone had fun at the event. As you know, Technology High School is a school of choice, so we have been spending the past month visiting local middle schools with our counselor, Ms. Juarez, to share information about Tech High. Last week, we began hosting Titan Tours, an opportunity that allows us to show our school to 8th graders who might be interested in applying to our school. We welcomed students with band performances and had a brief introduction that our cabinet hosted. This gives 8th graders the chance to see mainly every class that is happening, and as we are showing them, we are sharing what Technology High School has to offer. ASB led groups of 8th graders around campus. They met teachers and saw a few of the projects each class has been working on. One activity included a student panel of THS students. They were also able to share their environment in clubs and sports. The students shared their experience at Technology High School and made sure to answer any questions 8th graders might have. They were all from different grades and all contributed to the community of Tech High. Our first Titan tour of the year was with LJ last Tuesday. Our most recent was Thursday with students from TPA and TMS. This Thursday will be out-of-district tours for students and parents who attended non-CPR middle schools. Over the next month, we'll be hosting application workshops at each of our district middle schools with one after-school session for out-of-district applicants. Attendants will be able to ask questions and seek advice on applications from current THS students. We look forward to future Tech High students applying and helping them with their process. It makes me very happy sharing about the Million Book giveaway. Before attending, there was a process that I would like to share with everyone. As the Chick-fil-A Leader Academy ambassador, my task was to package 4 books in one bag for every student in kindergarten through 2nd grade at John Reed Elementary. With the help of my classmates, each one of us wrote between 4 to 5 letters that were personalized to each specific student. Each card had the name of the following written. Dear student name, books entertain, books create questions, books comfort us, books inspire us to dream. Dream big with these books you can enjoy again and again. With love, Technology High School ASB in partnership with Chick-fil-A. We were also aware that English is not the first language of several of the students, which is why one side of the card was in English, and for the students whose first language was in English, I made sure to translate and write at the back of the cards the Spanish version. I've known for past experience that receiving a letter in one's home language makes you feel included. When we arrived, each group of ASB leaders was assigned to a classroom. We all introduced ourselves and the activities we were going to do. Then each leader went with a group of kids. With them, we read 1 or 2 of the books while they were decorating bookmarks. Each student was left with 4 books to take home and to add their home library. This is one of the many outreach events we plan on doing for our community. We look forward to planning another event in the future simply because it has a positive impact not only to us but to our community. Finally, ASB has been doing a Pennyworth event these past few weeks to raise money for 5th graders and their big outdoor trip this year. 4th period classes are competing with the following point system. Value of 1 point equals 1 penny, and a dollar bill equals negative 100 points. Our student body has been eager to help out. Our goal is to aid in funding all 5th grader students in the opportunity to experience outdoor ed. So far, we gained a few $100s, and we're expecting to raise more. We appreciate our treasurer, Giovanni Ledoux, for organizing that event. Fall sports are coming to an end. The cross-country teams are having sectionals this Saturday. We like to recognize the students who are going to sectionals. Leon, Aaron, Gio, Dasha, Oliver, Waylon, Veronica, Carolina, and Nick. Winter sports are about to start, and most have been meeting already. We look forward to cheering on our student athletes as always. I would like to wish everyone happy Thanksgiving, and I look forward to sharing next month's report. Thank you.
Thank you, Naomi.
All right. Good evening, and thank you for having me speak tonight. A lot has happened since October. I would like to start my report by saying that the English Learners Resolutions is an amazing way to support our English learners, students, and set them up for success. Rancho's closing drive has come to an end, but we are still accepting clothes. Many students and people in the community have donated endless amounts of clothes throughout these past couple weeks. Every piece of clothing item we receive can go up from $1 up to $25. We raised a total of $2,195 from the first collection and are waiting to hear how much we made from the second collection. Our RCHS Theater of Arts presented Clue. They gave a total of 4 amazing performances and have worked hard to present this play. On October 22nd, our RCHS Color Guard took second place at the Foothill High School Band Review. On November 27th, the RCHS Concert Choir received excellent and superior ratings at the Sonoma Rings Choral Festival. Congratulations to the RCHS Color Guard and RCHS Concert Choir. Our Rancho Student Lounge is open every Thursday from 3:30 to 4:30, and the library students can bring their work in a quiet place and get help from teachers if needed. Snacks are always provided. And then ASB did a flapjack fundraiser at Applebee's on November 5th. Many ASB members sold tickets and participated as waiters, servers, and greeters. Overall, it was a great fundraiser and a way to serve our community. And then our robotics teams are raising money to register for their first robotic competition by participating in our VR arcade. Prices include full use of one Oculus Quest 2, $10 per person for 20 minutes. This will take place Friday at lunch and after school in our old gym. And then our athlete of the week is Ramsey Hernandez. Our Rancho Cotati football team has won their first playoff game 49-14. Round 2 of playoffs will be away versus Campolino this Friday. And then looking into the future, our class councils are working hard on airband performances for our winter rally. The Camp Food Drive is coming up right after the break, starting November 28th and ends December 14th. And we will hold a toy drive that starts December 1st. Also, as we all may know, Dr. Ganser is leaving our RCHS community. As a school, we are grateful for his service towards our school, community, and students. We wish Dr. Ganser nothing but the best and look forward to working with Miss Ramey. Thank you, and I hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you, David. Is Ben here? Okay.
No,
Okay.
it's a bummer.
So no reports from IPSIA, CSCA, and SCIU. So we'll go on to our receipt of official correspondence.
This is our Sonoma County's quarterly treasurer report that we receive quarterly. And this the report ends with September 30th of 2022 for your review.
Any questions? Okay. I make a motion to approve the consent agenda A through L. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Educational services. Presentation of after-school education and safety program plan guide.
Yes, we have Ms. Elena DeMars, who is our program coordinator for expanded learning, program manager. She has hit the ground running. She started in February, and I'm just so excited to see all the MOUs and all the progress and the programs that we have for our community after school. We have so many wonderful things going on, and folks can also submit proposals. But you know, when you put out an application for a Taekwondo class and we have 200 folks wanting to sign up, that's what we need in our community. It's something our children need. So I'm really proud to introduce her. I'm honored to work with her, and she's going to present on the ACES grant, which is our living document that kind of guides the work of our after-school programs.
Thank you for having me tonight. So our ACES program, After School Education and Safety Program, is operating out of 2 sites, John Reed and TPA. So let's see. How about I do this correctly? Why isn't it moving? Okay. I wanted to provide you an overview of our living document that we're submitting to the state. It's been a great experience, just kind of going over all of the things that we're learning about. It aligns with our LCAP Goal 4 and 5 by building and maintaining highly effective and relevant family and community partnerships. and Goal 5, which is focusing on our English learners. This process was incredibly interesting for me. Really, I came into the district a little bit blind in how the ACES programs operate, and so really it was a deep dive into what are we doing well, and what are our areas of growth. So that was the opportunity that I took there. It really helped us with strengthening our partnership with the YMCA, who's a loyal and effective partner in all of our after-school programming. We were able to develop an application process which was missing in the whole idea of how do we admit students into our ACES programs. So really that was one of the first steps that we took to make sure that it was equitable for our students that really needed those services. Our John Reed site is our largest site in the district. We've got over 160 students daily at that site. And we've got just about 100 students at Thomas Page. So there is definitely a need there. We really took this opportunity to also look at our MOUs that we had. And with the help of John and the YMCA staff, we were able to renegotiate or revise our current MOU for this upcoming school year. It was a little bit more equitable for both the district and the YMCA. So it was a win-win across the board. The ACES plan is divided into 12 categories, and really they identify these areas that they want us to speak on behalf of the district and our program. So the first is safe, supportive environment, and really what we're looking for there is how do we have a seamless collaboration between the YMCA, and how do we tie in the programs and the expectations that are happening at the school level into our after-school program. So it's a little bit of a seamless transition for our students. They want to see active, engaged learning. They want to see, and the thing that makes the ACES program a little bit different than a traditional recreation-based after-school program is the academic component. Really, they're looking at ways that we can enhance learning and keep kids in school and deliver an academic component after school, whether it's a STEAM activity, or they break it down. If you look at the program plan, they break it down by day and theme, but they really bring in curriculum as opposed to a more traditional recreation-based program. Skill building, we're able to achieve that with our low ratios, with our staffing, a well-rounded program, supportive staff, and a safe place to fail. And what I mean by that is a lot of these kids are at school at 7 a.m. and they go home at 6. And this is where they're people, where they're a place to be. And they need a place where they can thrive, and they need a place where they can fail safely, that they know that they're going to be, that those lessons are going to be taught in a meaningful way. Youth voice and leadership is important in the program plan and in programs in general. We want to make sure that kids have access and they have the ability to provide voice to what they're doing. And healthy choices and behaviors. Of course, we want kids to be out there and, running amok and enjoying themselves outside. But we also want them to have some education about healthy choices that they make. And thanks to our great partners at the Redwood Empire Food Bank, who are incredibly, they're just a resource in Sonoma County in general. But their healthy food is provided by them. Diversity, access, and equity was really a huge movement for me. I really wanted to make sure that our programs are prioritizing students who don't normally have that access. And with the Expanded Learning Opportunity Program, it's very clear. Students who are homeless, foster youth, designated as English learners, and qualify for free and reduced meals must get priority in our programming, and we have made that possible through the application and through that process. So we were able to be very explicit with how we wanted to design our program and make sure we were meeting the needs of the community. That doesn't mean that kids who do not qualify don't have access. It's an all-encompassing program, but priority needed to be given to those categories. And working with the YMCA has been incredible because every time I needed to call and say, we've got 10 more, we need to, we need this, they were able to accommodate that. It took a little time to make sure that they could accommodate the numbers that we were seeing, but that was very important for us. Quality staff. If you talk to any nonprofit, any organization, especially an education organization right now, they're saying that staff and quality staff is the #1 issue that they're facing, and the YMCA is no exception to that. So really, they got creative about how they identify the quality staff, and there was a lot of district crossover. We wanted to make sure that we were providing access to our staff that maybe needed some additional hours, whether it was a paraprofessional or it was an instructional assistant or a noon duty supervisor. We wanted to connect the two organizations, or connect the people to those organizations, to kind of build that robust staffing. Sonoma State is another incredible organization that we've all tapped into. And clear vision and mission and purpose. We really wanted to drill down to articulate what we wanted, and we wanted to make sure that we're increasing attendance with our students, that we're providing opportunities for academic growth, and we provide opportunities for enrichment. So those are our goals moving forward. As I touched on before, collaborative partnerships with Sonoma State, community enrichment partners, which that has been a very fun process to kind of identify community-based organizations that are doing good work out there and want to provide services for our students. And the continuous quality improvement, I have to say, I was a little stumbled by this when I first saw it, because I had never really completed this matrix of reporting, but really it's an annual CQI report that drives opportunities for growth. It's just our report card that we give ourselves, and our stakeholders provide data for as well. Program management is, it's been wonderful to kind of loop in the ACES program along with our expanded learning. It's going to be a big umbrella of programming. So really that cohesive delivery of the program has been wonderful. And as I said, YMCA collaboration in there. And sustainability. Funding for the ACES program goes directly to the ACES program, and we are able to supplement that with our ELOP funds that come through. So really, we are, that's why we're able to take 160 kids at John Reed, or 100 students at Thomas Page. So we're able to build on those programs. So I have to acknowledge that, coming into the district, I really did a lot of searching for support networks. And really, we have a robust support network here in what we're called Region 1. We've got leadership that comes out of the Mendocino Office of Education that is solely there to provide support for all of us in Region 1 who are doing the exact same thing. So it's been lovely. They've come out to visit. They used us as kind of the showcase to come out to John Reed, which was a lovely honor. They were instrumental in looking at our program plan review, and they provided extensive revisions, which I was incredibly grateful for. And they've really connected us with other local educational, other districts out there that are doing the same work. And my acknowledgments, of course, to the YMCA leadership. So the next steps are plan approval, hopefully. We will continue our collaboration, and we will truly use this as a living document to build on until 2026, or we'll do it again. Are there any questions?
I have one question. Are we going to expand to other elementary schools, or is the plan to keep it through 2026 just at Thomas Page and John Reed?
Sure. The ACES program is specific to John Reed and Thomas Page because of their status as Title I schools. We receive specific funding for those two sites. Expanded learning, which I'll come back and give you a whole other presentation on, is already in all of the other schools. We are providing expanded learning opportunities in all of our elementary schools.
We have Monte Vista and Richard Crane, though, are Title 1A? Title I-ish? So how are they not included in, like, how can we call two schools Title I but not?
So this plan is for ACES, and ACES is a program that we've been a part of for many, many years, and was specific to these two sites because at the time, they were the most needy schools that applied for the funding for those sites. So that's what this plan is for.
Thanks.
And my guess is that it will all be moving to an expanded learning model. Like this is the goal, I think the long-term goal, it will be that it'll all be one and there won't be any distinctions. So this is the first year at our ACES sites that if you don't necessarily qualify under those 4 categories, that the YMCA is able to extend that offer, but for a small fee. So that is a gift for communities. So it's not necessarily just for students that qualify for this. It's for everyone. And that's really what we're trying to do at all of the elementary sites. So shortly after school started, we kicked off the ELOP scholarship opportunity, and we provided students, if they qualified, free YMCA programs there. And we were met with, it was great. It was a great success. So we'll keep doing it, but that is a little bit separate than this program. Any other questions?
No.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I know my daughter goes to Han, and today when I picked her up, she's like, "So, you know what I can do after school?" And she's like, "You need to sign me up." I was like, "All right, we'll get you signed up."
Is she doing Taekwondo?
Well, yeah, I gotta see what's going on right now, but I know that there's a few things. So.
I want to go back to elementary school. Like me personally.
So, consent agenda. This is
9B.
Yeah. So 9B, approval of after-school education and safety program plan guide.
So you just received that overview that Ms. Elena DeMars provided, and now we're asking for approval of the plan.
So I make a motion to approve 9B of the after-school education and safety program.
I'll second 9B.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 9C, 2022 California Assessment of Student Performance and Progress.
Okay, you're hearing a lot from me tonight. Anyway, I want to provide a broad, 30,000-foot view of our assessment. That's something that that's important to do. And I also want to remind us that it is a moment in time. It is a moment that we have every spring, and it goes on for several months. Anyway, so really the overview, the objectives of this presentation is to provide an overview of the CAST results for 2021-2022. And it is aligned with Goal 1, which is all about maximizing student achievement and alignment to the Common Core state standards, and Goal 2, offering that broad course of study that meets the needs of all students and prepares them for college and career. So the things we have to remember is this is the first full year after distance learning. Prior to that, 2 years prior to that, when I started, we were in distance learning. We're learning on screen. Then we started the hybrid and started to bring kids back. And then last year was that full year. Although impacted, we were still impacted incredibly by absences because COVID was with us. We kept our doors open as we should. And yet the attendance did impact us. And some students, I always want us to remember that some students were not on campus. Those baby kindergartners were learning on a screen. Some of our students had never been on a playground. If you think about our kids that are transitioning, students going from elementary to middle school, never been on the middle school playground. Students transitioning from middle school to high school, spending that freshman year on the screen. Pre-K, TK, K. So these things impacted our kiddos. And also that also wanting to see that in 2018-19 was the last time that we took state tests. So in 1920, the testing was suspended, and in 2021, when you'll see results, we chose to administer local measures, which was the Easy CBM, and the 11th graders took the state tests, so only the 11th graders. And the other thing is, staff worked hard to invite kids to come back to take that state test. We didn't have everyone to take the test. So we have a small group of students that came in and take the assessment. So as a reminder, and they're all highlighted in purple, here are the state measures. We have academic performance. We look at chronic absenteeism. College and career we're not going to discuss. It's very complex and a combination of assessments, so I'm not going to discuss it tonight. I can certainly bring it back. And probably have a co-presenter with me who understands the depth of it. Anyway, we're going to look at English learner assessments, which is the LPAC. We're going to look at graduation rate, and we're going to look at suspension rate. So you'll see the data change a little bit. The reason why is when the data is captured. This data for the enrollment data was captured on Census Day, CBEDS Day. It's changed throughout the years, but this is in October. So in October, our enrollment was 5,970 students. 41.6% were socioeconomically disadvantaged. 17% were English learners, and 0.87 foster youth. And then you see below, 12.5% of our students are students with disabilities, and 0.27 are homeless students. And here's our ethnicity breakdown. I don't want to read each percentage to you, but you can see that we have a diverse population. Our biggest groups would be, largest group is Hispanic, 2,680 students, with representing 44.89% of our district. And our next largest group is 2,249 students. Those are our white students, 37.67 representative of our district. So you can see the different demographics, otherwise smaller percentages. Okay, so chronic absenteeism. So you can see 18-19, that was prior to COVID, our chronic absenteeism was 12%, 12.4%. Then we went into distance learning. Guess what? Our attendance was a little bit better. And then last year, you can see, here's the impact. This is the severity of COVID. 48.14 was our chronic absenteeism rate. And you can see I've also added the state and county. Currently, we do not have the county and the state data, and I'm happy to provide that. Anyway, and the eligibility, this enrollment, forget that. This is for the next slide. Anyway, so just to give you an idea of the impact of our absences.
Myra, I have a question.
Sure.
Can you go back to the percentage side? So the chronic absentee count, are you telling me that 2,939 kids of the 105 missed at least one day of school? Or is that 2,939 days of school were missed?
That's the count. Those are the students that missed school at some point last year. Could have been multiple days, could have been one day. So at some point in the year, it could have been multiple absences. So.
And are these unexcused absences or excused?
They're excused absences, but that they're recorded as they're chronic absenteeism. So there's a pattern there. I have to look a little bit at the data.
How many absences does it define chronic absence?
That's what I was going to say.
And I'm going to turn to
Yeah, that's
Mr.
what I was going to say. You're
Marshall.
telling me that 90% of the school didn't miss one day of school?
So chronic absenteeism is if you've missed 10% or more of the school year for any reason.
Okay, so a kid that just missed one day of school because they had the sniffles are not counted as a chronic absentee number?
Only if it was the 5th day of school.
Okay, but in a normal school year, we're good still.
Yeah, we'd be fine.
Okay, that makes more sense to me. Because I was,
This year, right now, as of today, our chronic rate is 19%. So
Thanks, Matt.
But if someone had like COVID and they couldn't go to school for whatever the amount of time is, they're pretty much labeled as chronic absent.
Yes.
And that's one of the reasons, because of quarantine, you know, COVID quarantine, that was 10 days, and then if you got COVID again, it was another 10 days. So, yeah, Sonoma County-wide, the chronic rate was brutal.
So out of 180 school days, 10%, that means they miss at least 18 days of the school year. And 48%
Yes.
of our kids miss at least 18 days.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Marshall. Okay, so suspension rate. If we look at 2019, 2020, our suspension rate was about 4.40%. We had an incredible drop during distance learning to 0.30%. And now, last year, we have 4.42%. So kind of stable and consistent there. And we do want to keep those rates low and keep our kids in school because we know they need to be in school. Anyway, and you can see that our rates are a little bit higher than state and county. LPAC scores. So here we go. So I want to call your attention to the table on the right-hand side. It says minimally developed. So that is level 1 language acquisition, somewhat developed, level 2, moderately developed, level 4 on the LPAC, or level 3 on the LPAC, sorry, and then well-developed is a level 4. So that's the high proficiency rate. As you can see in comparison to these two graphs, the data's similar. So there are changes when kids are reclassified, they're not, and they don't longer take the LPAC, they're pulled out of this number. So this is, comparing a little bit, this could be comparing different students. But bottom line, what you see here is really consistent results. We have 17% of our kids are those beginning learners, 20 to 30% are those, second level, and then you've got the moderately developed are they're close to reclassifying, and then that 16% are proficient students that will reclassify. Another thing to notice is we had a slight decrease in our English learners, about 94%. And my question when I saw this data is like, how many kids reclassified? I do not have that data, and I can present it another time. But as you can see, about 53.9% of our kiddos are at those higher levels of 3 and 4, and we have 46% of the kids that are at those levels 1 and 2. And I love it that 53% are acquiring language. I'm always going to have my lens on that 46%, because we want to make sure that we reclassify and provide that language acquisition, that strong support, because we know that when we have, we just limit students' options because we're providing the ELD, and we want to make sure that, we provide as much opportunity as possible.
Do we measure how long the students are in those different categories? Because it's kind of, to say that 17.3% are in the minimally developed, well, if they just moved here and have never spoken English before, I don't want that 73% or the 17.3 to, are those new students or those students that have been here a significant amount of time that we haven't given the right education to? That's kind of hard to tell me if we're being successful or not.
So what I can do is provide an English learner presentation and get into that more. So students cannot be assessed. Well, actually, the students are assessed. There's the initial and the summative LPAC. You're looking at the results for the summative LPAC. So we can dig in a little bit more. What I was saying is they aren't assessed for the CASP, but they are assessed for the LPAC. And yes, that level 1 could be here. They've been here a month. They've been here 6 months. It could be, it's a variety, and these are the results we get. So we can dig in a little bit more and see who these students are. And assessing a student who gets a level 1 who is a newcomer to our country is very different than a child. We have long-term English learners, and those are kids that have been with us since kindergarten. That's real different. If we have a level, we're going to totally expect a child that's new to the country that's acquiring language may score level 1. If we have students that have been here for 5 or 6 years in our schools and they're still a level 1 and 2, we've got to be you know, hyper focuses or something else impacting their academics.
Yeah,
That's what that graph doesn't really tell us.
Also, it'd
Right,
be nice
right.
to see the grade level too, like of the, you know, the minimally developed. What's the grade makeup of that?
Okay.
You know, where are the students, you know, where the most of them are. And I look at this like when we look at our attendance. I know this is just a year to year, but when you see it went up one or it went down one, but really there was 20 different students, you know, coming in and 19. So it doesn't really like show any movement, and that could just be like, you know, the makeup of our school just.
Absolutely. And as I said, this is a 30,000-foot view, and I am happy to bring back more data to get a little bit deeper, a little bit lower, to recognize what's happening with the different grade levels and how they're progressing.
Looking this up on the dashboard online, it's an exercise of, you know, brain power, how long you can handle it for, because you can spend hours and hours. But the questions that are being asked are all on the dashboard. You just really got to dig. They'll show this year versus last year. They'll show you how many kids moved in what subjects. But I'm telling you, it's a lot of numbers, but you could go exactly and find out what grade they were in last year to what grade they were in this year. When I know that everybody's results were embargoed for a period of time, didn't we get this like 3 months later than we were supposed to?
Yes, you know,
If that's
when
right.
we started the computer testing on computers, on devices, we were promised the results earlier. They're like, you're going to get them right away. So what happens is the schools receive individual student results. You know, it could be during the summer. So, but we're pulling the data, and our principals are vigilant. They're pulling the data and looking at the students, but they don't get the aggregate, and so this takes longer. So I believe it was in October that I informed you that the CAS scores were out. So it's embargoed, and it was really interesting. They embargoed them, and they were released to districts, to me, on a Sunday, and then they published them, you know, put them out to the public on a Monday, which I thought, whoa, because usually it's during the week, but it was really, really interesting. And then they have different reasons in them, you know, when they do the embargoes, but it's been since release, it's all on there. What I'm awaiting next is, you know, we can't, remember we had the colors in, on the dashboard a few years ago, 2018-19, where, you know, the schools were plotted on this matrix. They're not doing that this year because of COVID and what happened. So they're going to rank the schools, and that's on the part of the parent toolkit on the CDE website, where they're ranking very low, you know, and I'm like, already, it's like, it makes me a little bit nervous that we're gonna label a school, but they said it's for 1 year.
Well,
Very
what I was
low,
reading
you know.
on CDE, it's across the board. We're
Absolutely.
Not just California, but all 50
It's
states
nationally.
are. I mean, if you look at those numbers you could look at those numbers and think we're like terrible. I mean, some of the numbers are really scary, but it has to do with what I call the 1.5 years of learning loss. I mean, we're still seeing that now. So, but yeah, if you really want to take a deep dive into it, go look at the dashboard, because it will kind of make this a lot clearer, but it's also a lot more concerning.
Right, and I have to say, you know, as we were going into this shutdown, I put on my teacher hat, and it was a struggle for me, because I said, how are we going to teach children, how are we going to teach language on a screen? How are we teach children how to print on a screen? How are we going to teach children to read on a screen? You know, I was an upper elementary teacher, I was a primary teacher, and I was perplexed, and I talked to many teachers who were saying, you know, we had to stop doing long division because I was on a screen, they were frustrated, and you know, people worked really hard, but it's different to be able to come over around a child's shoulder and tap them on the shoulder and say, let's look at this and what you're doing, versus, okay, show me on the camera where you're at. You know, and many children, you know, depending on the grade level, shut their cameras off, so teachers are trying to figure out what's happening behind that camera. So.
Thank you.
Anyway, it was some difficult times. Anyway, so here's the ELA CAS scores. I wanted you to take a look. I separated out 2020-21, because this only reflects our 11th grade students and how they performed. And it looks radically different. So if you lump them together, it's like, hey, what happened here? Anyway, so remember that this was when we had the choice to give a local measure. We didn't think it was prudent to give the CASP, after the pandemic and after the shutdown. So when you look at the CAS scores, you can see that in 2018-19, 62% of about 62% of our students were meeting or exceeding standards. And last year, when we took the assessments, it was 53.9% of our kids meeting or exceeding standards. So there was a drop. And I will repeat again what Trustee Gillies said. There's learning loss, that we're working to close that gap and to fill in those gaps for our students. The next.
I have a question.
Yes.
How does the percentages work?
How
Like,
the
'cause
percentage
It's like
work?
that year, it's like 32% of what standards were not met.
So the students take the assessment, and they have to have a certain number correct of the assessment, and then that's how the percentages. They have to. And I can get more into the details, but they have to.
Just say like,
This is just for English, so 32% of the students.
well, it's not 32 because if you add it up, it's like way more than 100%,
No, you only
right?
need to add the first four, and then it's by district, by county, by state. So you're adding the 32, the 27,
Oh,
the
yeah,
26,
got
and
it, yeah.
13, and then stop adding.
See, I would not do well on this CAS. I'd fail.
Well, this isn't the math one. Let's look at the next one, and we'll see how you do on the math
I'm just
one.
gonna say, let me
Okay,
tell you, I'm gonna confess the fact that standardized tests scared me as a child, and I never did well. So I'm just like, how do we? Excuse me?
When in doubt, pick C.
Yeah. Anyway, and these got really rigorous, and the expectations, there's performance tests that are quite rigorous for our kids, and that's why it's important to know what the standards state, because the assessment's so different. Anyway, and just wanted you to see that the met or exceeded, you can see the county and the state. So it's low. So that's where we're at, and and the thing is, we were making gains. We had 3 years of data, and then all of a sudden the pandemic hit. And for us to look, I don't want us to compare 18-19. I want you to be aware, but to compare 2018-19 to 2021-22 is not really fair. We've had some things that have impacted our scores. So here are our math scores. One of the things that is a trend and a pattern is that we need to work on math. Okay, so what we've noticed is that our students are, when it's concrete, the kids are better equipped. When it becomes more abstract, they start to struggle, and that's where we see the decrease. So when we looked at this data with our leaders, with our site leaders, and they were looking at the different areas, and they said, wow, when it's concrete, they're doing it. When it becomes abstract and, it's equations and algebraic, all of a sudden we see a shift in how the kids are performing. So, we had a PD, and we talked about Eureka Math with elementary, and when I see these scores, that's some of the work we need to do. So you can see we're tag teaming it. We're doing a lot of work with ELA. We're also doing the math, work with the PD and the math. And I'm gonna confess that as an elementary teacher, I love to teach reading. I wasn't a fan of teaching math, and we project that onto our students sometimes. So that's something that we wanna work on and become comfortable with. So graduation rate, the state and county are not available just yet, and you can see a comparison of our students and our graduation rate. What to notice here is you can see that there's a little bit of a gap in terms of, we see our graduation rate For all students is 94.2%. If you look at our English learners, 87.2% graduation rate, and students with disabilities, 86.6%. So I love that overall our students are doing well, but this is, when we talk about equity, here's a gap. So how do we serve those students so that we can increase and close that gap, that 94 for overall, and close it a little bit, because there is a gap there. So, and that's what we talk about when we talk about equity. Any questions on that? Okay. Here's the graduate, so now I get you the real complex table here. We've got all of our demographic groups, and you can see our graduation rate. So, all students, 94%. Our Latino students, 92%. Not a huge gap. That's great. But, we have a gap for African American students. And, it's a small group of students, but we need to serve all students well. Because when they're not able to graduate, we're impacting them for the rest of their lives. So that's something that we need to pay attention to. I had a superintendent say, so how are your African American kids doing? And I'm like, they're part of your community too, even though there might be 5 or 6 kids. We want to serve all of them well. So it's always something that I remember. So you can see the different, the different groups and ethnicities and how we're doing. And, and you can see that our white students are at 97.6%. So anyway, so in summary, there is a persistent opportunity gap that exists for our students with disabilities and our English learners. So we have to be aware of that and advocate for our students to make sure we're serving them well and they're getting the services they need and deserve. Chronic absenteeism appears to be impacted by COVID. We see it already as an improvement, little by little. We'll see when the holidays, after the holidays, let's see how we're impacted there. It's also flu season. Mitigation of learning loss must be a focus. We lost some ground because of the pandemic. Mathematics is an area of focus because students struggle as mathematic concepts become more abstract. I talked about that we were looking at, God, what's happening? Where's it breaking down? LPAC scores are very similar, and the bands are also similar, but we need to dig into that to see what's happening and if we're increasing our reclassification rate. So what are we doing? We have a concern. This is happening nationally. It's not in Cotati Runner Park. It's everywhere. The pandemic impacted us. So principals have been studying their school data, and in professional learning teams, that's something that I have committed to, and I've said since day one. We need to learn the data. We need to know which kids are achieving, who's not achieving, so we can address it with intervention. In fact, a team of principals went to an RTI, Response to Intervention Conference, to talk about it. And they're all, we need to meet, this is a heavy lift, we need to provide intervention. So we're working on that. And I sent a team out there, like, tell me what we need to do. We're also identifying essential standards. One of the things that we all know is there are too many standards to cover everyone to the depth that we need to. So what we need to do is, what are the most essential per each grade level? So we are doing this work. Schools have done it already. Han has been doing it, TPA, all of the schools. But we need a district document. So we're gonna gather all of those essential standards that have been identified and create a district document that says every first grader, every TKer is gonna get these standards, and we're gonna focus on these, and we're gonna do it by grade level. So we're creating that document now, getting all the input from the schools to see what the trends are, to see how aligned we are. And our hope is that we're aligned, because we want to provide a quality education for all students. We have a new ELD and math, ELA ELD curriculum that's being implemented. First time we have an ELD curriculum in the district. So that is key. Also a heavy lift, because it's a lot of PD and a lot of learning of the curriculum. MTSS is a vehicle to identify tier 1, 2, and 3 interventions. What are we doing to serve the kids? Instructional materials pilot. This made me very happy. We were doing a middle school pilot. Rancho Cotati High School said, we need to align with the middle school. The math department said, we need to do this work also. And they're doing the work. And today I got asked, do we have to do this by March? I said, you take the time you need. We want to select the correct materials. We just know that if we order it, we may not get it right in time for fall. Anyway, so that's really good news, because when I came on board, TPA was using something, Lawrence Jones was using something, and I'm like, so what happened here? So we're aligning the system, and that will take PD and time. And we have the single plans for student achievement. That's something that we're working on with principals, and that is all about looking at the CAS data, looking at the local measures, and designing goals that are designed to meet the individual needs of each of those schools. And that's how we spend our money. If math isn't looking good, we're gonna invest our money there, or conferences or what have you. So that's where we're at. We're actively planning to address this. I wanna tell you, the last principals meeting was incredibly exciting. Elementary team said, listen, we need to focus on math. We are going to develop a common formative assessment to see where kids are, to analyze where the breakdown is and where the gaps are. And that's exactly the work we need to be doing with our site leaders. We are there, people are passionate, they are not happy with the results, and they want to improve the results. So it begins with our leaders, and I'm really excited
I
about
just
the
want
work.
to mention, I talked to a teacher after these results came out, and they took it kind of personally, because I think some teachers see this as their report card. And I told the teacher, and I think my fellow board members and I hope all agree that we knew these numbers weren't going to be good. I don't think this is a big surprise to anybody. And for myself, I do not see this as a reflection of our teachers or our teachers' ability to teach our students. And I think that all of our teachers did a wonderful job with the crappy hand that we were all dealt during the pandemic and coming back and all this turmoil and uncertainty. So I actually think for all the craziness we went through, we did pretty darn good. We came out, and the numbers aren't great, but we at least have a starting point and we can go forward from here. So I just wanted to make sure, at least from my perspective, that nobody sees these numbers and takes personal responsibility for them. It is not anyone's fault.
We're very hard on ourselves, educators aren't, because it's very personal work. As a principal, when I used to look at scores, I'm like, I feel very bad that I'm not serving my students well. But there's that piece, but really is, okay, so what can we learn from this to make it better? So if, and one of the things that happens is math isn't great. So are we offering intervention? Well, maybe we're not. Maybe we need to develop an intervention program. So these scores are to learn. It's not to criticize or point fingers. It's to learn and get better to better serve our students. It is not, it shouldn't be that. And we want to stop people from saying, oh my gosh, I did a horrible job. And I heard it. The principals are like, this is horrible. And I'm like, we had a pandemic. The scores aren't great. So what are we going to learn from that? And how are we going to serve the kids better?
And while those scores are important, there's so much more to school than just, did you pass your English
exactly.
and math test? Are they happy? Are they supported? Do they have a safe place? Are they getting the different supports, both socially and emotionally, that they need? So, yeah, the PBIS. So, while these aren't great,
we have to realize that
I don't think anyone got a degree in distance learning, or I don't think teachers, when they got their degrees, they were, taught how to teach remotely. So it's like there was no education or training on how to do this, and people spent their whole life with one-to-one interaction with students, and then to be able to connect and do what they've been doing their whole career, it's not going to happen.
I remember a principal saying, the teacher taught a wonderful lesson and the students weren't responsive. And someone said, well, they're kindergartners and they thought they were watching a TV program. I mean, we have to remove, no matter, it's the hardest thing ever. And I saw teachers working so hard. It's a screen. It's not get up, let's move around, let's interact together. It was just difficult work, and the hand was dealt, and people did the best they knew how. But
Well,
it's
I have to
not
say that
normal way of teaching.
everybody did the best that they could, right? None of us have been through this before. I think the blame game has to stop. I agree totally with what Michelle said. We knew the scores were going to be crummy. But I'm not going to be on the board. This is my last meeting. So I would like to see the district go forward with where can we improve? as opposed to this bad, terrible thing happened, so let's blame this person or that group. It gets us nowhere. We need to put our feet forward and move forward. And that's one of the things, you know, curriculum fell to the wayside, our planning, our buying textbooks, all of these things, because we were just trying to get through one day without losing anybody in a pandemic. And, you know, the board had to make tough decisions too. And I know some of us didn't like some of the decisions we had to make when it came to COVID, but the teachers shouldn't blame themselves. I think it's probably going to take us 3 to 5 years to correct out of this situation that we found ourselves in before we start seeing improvements in the numbers that we'd like to see. So I'd like to see everybody stop feeling bad about where we are and just go forward.
It's where we are. We're gonna move forward and do the best job possible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A 9D, approval of overnight field trip to Marin Headlands for 5th grade district-wide outdoor education. Is there anyone, we're just gonna vote on it, or is there any words on it?
These are just overnight field trips that we are approving and need to be board approved, and they're here for your approval.
I make a motion to approve 9D, approval overnight field trip to Marin Headlands for 5th grade district-wide outdoor education. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And then 9E, approval of overnight field trip to Catalina Island for EXL 7th, 8th grade. Can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve 9E, approval of overnight field trip to Catalina.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Personnel services, no public comment. Approval of job description revision for mental health social worker.
This job description was revised really to reflect general education and how do we support our students with Tier 1 and Tier 2 interventions. And we also wanted to update the credentialing requirements for this position. So that's why you have a job description before you for approval.
Can I get a motion to approve 11?
I make a motion to approve 9, 11,
Just 11.
just 11, sorry.
Yes.
I'll second.
Can I get a second? Michelle seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. No public comment for business and operational services. 12A, Resolution 2023-A regarding annual accounting for developer fees for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2022 in the Capital Facilities Fund.
So for your approval tonight is the developer fee resolution and developer fee report for the 21-22 school year. Because we collect developer fees, we are required to provide an annual accounting of such fees. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Can I get a motion to approve 12A Resolution 2023 regarding annual accounting of developer fees for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2022 in the Capital Facilities Fund?
I'll make a motion that we approve 12A, Resolution 2023-8.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor? I mean, roll call vote.
Oh,
Yeah.
You just see if we're paying attention.
Don't take away my job. Trustee Brown,
Yes.
Trustee Chimino,
Yes.
Trustee Gillis,
Yes.
Trustee Nelson,
Yes.
Trustee Wing.
Yes.
Trustee Joe stands. Hey, he might have to run, okay?
Where is little Joe?
Yeah, where did he go?
He's in the bag, you know. Yeah, I might have to move him to Katati, you know. Okay, so regarding 13A through U, is there any questions or comments?
Nope.
John?
John's
John's got stuff.
Glad
Well,
there's
I
no
mean,
questions.
After
Yeah, yeah.
that, after John goes.
I'm happy that there's no questions, but I'd like to just read off the enrollment data for the end of October. You know, we're staying pretty strong at just over 6,000 kids. We had a net gain of 10 kids over September, so we're at 6,031. And we had 19 kids enter the district, one from Cross and Crown, which is a private school, 6 from out of county, 3 from within the county, and 9 were other, and I don't have any comments about that one. And then we had a total of 9 kids exit, and they're all going out of county. Actually, out of state for most of them, so that's net 10
Damn.
gain.
Are we down to closer to 50 students in the VLA now?
Yes.
Okay, so the students have moved from VLA into kind of their more traditional in-person school?
Yes. We've had that transition started last year and little by little, so that we are down at the VLA.
Thank you.
So, 13B, first reading, thank you, John, appreciate that. 13B, first reading of BP 6174, education for English learners. This is a first reading.
So can I point out, if you'd like to go through all the policies, one of the things you're going to see is that we have several policies tonight that we're waiving the second reading. The reason that we're waiving the second reading is we are very fortunate to be going through a federal progress monitoring once again. My first year we went through that. And we are required to have certain policies updated and what have you, and that reflect the most current, most current legislation. So we're waiving this first reading to be prepared for the FPM that's coming in April. And that's why we're asking for that tonight. Otherwise, these are our regular policies. We know, we have a lot of catching up to do, and we make progress every month. And if you have any questions about the individual policies, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you, Dr. Price. I'm going to go to 13C, first reading of BP and AR 5116.1, interdistrict open enrollment. Any questions? 13D, first reading and waive second of BPAR 6173.1, education for foster youth. Can I get a motion to approve 13D?
I make a motion to approve 13D.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I make a motion to approve 13E, first reading and waive second reading of AR 3541, business and non-instructional operations. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I make a motion to approve 13F, first reading and waive second. AR 4112.22, staff teaching English language learners. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in
Got
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I make a motion to approve 13G, first reading and waive second reading of BPAR 6174, education for English language learners. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I make a motion to approve 13H, first reading and waive second reading of BPAR 6171, Title I programs. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Make a motion to approve 13I, first reading and waive second reading of BPAR 6020, parent involvement. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I make a motion to approve 13J, second reading of BP and AR 7150 site selection and development. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 13K, I make a motion to approve 13K, second reading of Board Policy 4140, 4240, 4340, bargaining units. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I make a motion to approve 13L, second reading of Administrative Regulation 4161.2, 4261.2, 4361.2, personal leaves. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I make a motion to approve 13M, second reading of bylaw 9100 organization. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I make a motion to approve 13N, second reading of BP and AR 6158 independent study. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I make a motion to approve 13O, second reading of BP and AR 5141.4 child abuse reporting procedures. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I make a motion to approve 13P, second reading of BP and AR 5142 safety. Can I get a second?
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I make a motion to approve 13Q, second reading of BP and AR 5144.1 suspension expulsion due process. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I make a motion to approve 13R, second reading of BP 5131 conduct. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I make a motion to approve 13S, second reading of BP 5131.8 mobile communication devices. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I make a motion to approve 13T, second reading of BP and AR 5135 gangs. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I make a motion to approve 13U, acceptance of gifts and donations to school and district. Can I get a second? Or you want to read out the?
You're on a roll.
You're on a roll. It's fine.
Okay. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Reports. Board member reports. We'll start off with Krista.
Thank you. I'm gonna miss you guys. That's what I have to say. It's been an interesting 4 years. So I don't want to get upset. I'm just gonna say I'm gonna miss everybody. It's, you kind of become a family. It took a long time for, like 2 years for us to get here, right? You start to get to know people. We had some great workshops, learning our strengths and weaknesses of each other. I think it really helped how we learn, how we listen, how we process information. Bless you. Joe? Yes, Mom gave Joe some tissue. And so I just want to say thank you to everybody. I'm going to miss you all a lot, and that's all. Thank you.
Left.
Oh, let me turn this on. So where do I start? Where do I start? I could do history, and I could talk about other stuff, and I could talk about current events, but what I want to say is that the last 4 years have been tough, but all 5 board members have stood up and worked hard. The leadership of this district has us going in the right direction. And I want to back up a little bit. So I want to appreciate Joe and Carissa 4 years of being a board member. It's not easy type of thing. And I remember wanting to step back and said, you know, I don't want to be a president for another year. You know, someone else needs to do that. Carissa, you need to do it. Joe, you need to do it. So I appreciate you both doing that. I appreciate all that you've done for the students in this district and what you've done for this district. I appreciate Carissa's, so in that, and I appreciate that there are 2 new board members, but you know, some of the attributes of Carissa, I used to always have to be going over every little financial thing, and then Carissa came and I sat back and go, oh, someone else can do that job. So thank you for, although I still looked at the numbers, thank you for being a steward there. Thank you for your focus towards the education of all the kids in the district. And to Joe, the compassionate Joe, that gave his heart and soul, not that Carissa didn't give her heart and soul, but, you know, Joe, you showed that.
I cried a few times.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, it's good. Yeah, you know, type of thing. So, I mean, when it comes from the heart, it's really appreciated. And you've got younger kids in the district, and you understand that, and then you understand the importance for all the district and all the kids, and that's great. You two helped along with the other board members, but, you know, kind of getting the ship, we were going through some rough waters. We, you know, 4 years ago, previous superintendent walked out the door. Next thing we know, we're overstated significantly in the budget, and it's like, oh shoot, that's the nice word for it. And we got through that type of thing. And then 2 years later, we had a couple new board members, and what I like about this board is it may look like we're rubber stamp voting, but we're not. We're 5 individuals with 5 ideas. And, you know, we clashed and we've gotten over it type of thing, and we're going forward. And what's important about that is not our feelings, but where this is taking the district. And Joe and Carissa and Michelle and everybody needs to be thankful that, you know, we're on the right track. And after 28 years, it's not always being a board member, in my opinion, has been divided. It hasn't been on the right track, or at least in the track, in my opinion, of where we go. But I'm one of 5 type of thing, so I appreciate all 5 board members. I'm going to miss Carissa and Joe. I think our friendships have been built in relationships type of thing. I'm going to make the invite right now to the Ed Foundation, because I invested in the VIP table for a good price. And so as a reward for that, for 2 board members that have worked with me, I want to invite Carissa and Joe and a significant other or wife or whatever to attend that table and sit with me in the end of March. And then I think, when is it, March or April 1st? April Fools or something, isn't it?
It's close.
Yeah, somewhere in there. So put it on your calendar there.
You don't really have a seat when you get there.
So you have to come back for something type of thing. So I did. No, I didn't. I went to a good cause. I did pay a lot of money for that thing. And I'm going to goal is going to, I don't think someone's going to have to pay a lot of money to take that away from me going forward. So, but anyway, so I thank you from the bottom of my heart. The district thanks you. I'm going to miss you. I've missed other board members, and some I haven't missed when they've left, and I'm sure some won't miss me either. So this is a thankless but then a wonderful job, because you can look at the programs tonight, you know, talking about that. You can look at the young kids, that's the value of this type of thing. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Please stay involved. Please help support the district. And I'll stop rambling and leave it at that. So thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
First off, I attended the play here, the Clue play, and it was pretty awesome. I took, it's like my daughter and my son, my wife, and the biggest kick I got out of it was watching my 7-year-old light up every other minute. You know, she was super intrigued. She was, you know, looking up at the people that were walking up there, and you know, there's a cat that was getting thrown around, and just how everything was done. She was just like totally into every part of it, you know, and it made me realize, like, you know, we don't do enough of this. Like, we don't support enough of this, and I really look forward to going to more events. We did Han had a Halloween carnival, and we did that. It was super fun. I've said this a bunch of times, but it's nice getting back out there. It's, you know, what I love most about this community, Rohnert Park. It's where, like, we decided to live and raise our family, is the community, and seeing all the family and the kids and everyone getting together and having a really, really good time, and just enjoying the community together, and watching all the children, you know, all the students, you know, basically grow up. You know, my kid's almost 14, and I look at some of his friends that he still has, and we were at Han, you know, just a couple years ago doing the same things, and now I'm looking at those same, you know, people, who, some of them are young men, you know, much bigger than me in stature. It doesn't take much, but it's crazy to watch people, you know, grow up, and, you know, all a part of this community, and that, it means a lot to me. The last 4 years, I've learned a lot about the district and how schools work, a lot about budgets, and you know, I appreciate that. You know, I appreciate to be a part. I'm very appreciative to be a part of it. I appreciate all of the support I got for running. It meant a lot to me. I appreciate my wife for putting up with, you know, especially, you know, during the strike, and supporting me, and you know, there was a lot of commitment to this that I don't think some people understand, and it's usually after work. You know, it's yeah, yes, I'm during work, but it's, you know, when I'm should be with my family or supporting, you know, my family, I'm here. So I appreciate that. I appreciate Left for yelling at me when I was out of line.
Just agreed.
Yeah. No, you yelled at me, and it was deserved. But I appreciate that. You know, I appreciate Carissa, you know, her always, you know, sticking to what she felt is right, and you know, forgiving me for when I got out of line with her. I appreciate that. You know, and I appreciate the Mark and I forgot your name. Michelle. I appreciate, you know, I was very nervous when you get 2 new board members, and to see how the dynamic's going to change. And there's all these preconceived notions that both sides have, new board members, of how things work, and, you know, how things are in the district, and what's really going on in the background, and, you know, and just us, you know, me, like, thinking I know who you are and what you're about. And the biggest thing that I've been learning, even with my kids' sports teams, and like this board, is to do the barbecues and the workshops and the movie nights very first thing, like, and do it more than you think you need to, because it creates a bond. And I feel like, you know, the sooner that the new board has a workshop, even if you don't have that 5th person, I think you need to do that, and you need to overload on it, because you guys are gonna, you're gonna see, everyone's gonna see each other's goals. Everyone's gonna be more aligned and more on the same page. And that doesn't mean that you guys are always gonna agree and you know,
it's going to be, you guys understand where everyone's coming from, and I think you'll have more respect for everybody. So that's what I would like to see moving forward. Michelle?
Well, to continue on with the theme.
Oh,
thank
right,
you.
real quick.
What? Here we go.
I would like to thank Dr. Perez too. I'm very proud to be a part of hiring you, Dr. Perez. I think about the people that we've interviewed, because we had more than just one round of hiring superintendents, and I felt that you got dealt a very bad hand with COVID starting, and I think you have a very warm personality, and I think no one got to see that the first couple of years. And I think, you know, you bring a lot to a table, but I think that's one of the things that are unmeasurable. And I think that's like the community building that I wanted to see. And I think, and I'm glad that you're able to start doing that. And, you know, looking back, and like Lev was saying with the programs and curriculum, I think, you know, a great deal has to do with, you know, you pushing the agenda that we wanted and you making it happen. So, and thank you too, Rochelle. I appreciate you.
Do you get Black Binder to get back to her?
No, that's Lev.
You're gonna keep yours?
Yeah, I want to take his. All right, Michelle.
You done for real this
Yeah.
week? Okay, good. Thank you too, John. Well, I was gonna say, what about John?
Yeah, you know.
John who?
So thank you to Joe and Carissa, like everyone else has said. Joe, definitely expect over the last year you calmed me down a couple nights and kept me from doing and saying things I probably shouldn't or wouldn't say. So thank you for kind of being the calming voice and sense of reason, especially during very tumultuous, hard times. Carissa, I don't know anyone that can pull numbers out of their hat like you can, like accurately. Like you just know numbers like this so quickly, and I'm like still trying to figure it on the sheet, and she's done a complex math problem in her head in 2 seconds and remembers what it was 3 years ago too, and then can tell me the percentage of difference. I'm like, I'm still trying to figure out what line item we're on here. Also, thank you for your insight and your dedication to this district. I'm sure 4 years ago, none of you expected the 4 years you just had, but you stuck with it. And like we've all said, we may not always agree, and that's actually a great thing. We shouldn't always agree. And I appreciate to where we've gotten today, where we can have candid, open, honest conversations and see each other's viewpoints and not be, you know, it's my way or the highway kind of thing. And I think we're in a great place right now. Lef, thank you for continuing on another 4 years. This could be your goodbye day too, but you know, welcome back.
He's like, wait, what? Where's my letter?
Welcome back.
He's like, I ran?
I won?
And Cassie, we'll say welcome next month, but one of these seats will be yours. You just, you know, up here next month. So, yeah, you guys will definitely be missed. And not gonna lie, I'm a little jealous that on December 15th, you're going to be sitting on your couch probably going, I think I should be somewhere right now, and then be like, no, there's nowhere else I need to be. And we'll be here keeping the ship running, and I'm sure the two of you will check in and tell us if we're doing it right or wrong. So,
Expect him to.
yes, exactly. So, thank you.
Mark?
Okay, for the non-emotional stuff, had a free Friday last week, so the choice was to go to Clue or to pick the cold option. So we picked the cold option, and we went to the Rancho football game here, and that was really nice in the cold to see that playoff game. And I wish them and then all of the other individuals, I think from Tech, that are going on forward in cross country in their sectionals. I also did, I wanted to say that I think new people that are coming to our district, and even people that have to go to the district office, I did just want to bring up that I think that we have a very Spartan-looking district office. It's not very comforting when you have to go in and fill out paperwork. I know you're probably going to have to go in and fill out paperwork, the new person is, and it's not very inviting. So I think if there's any way that we might be able to get some, I don't know, a sofa or just something that looks a little bit more like a lounge where people can connect as opposed to, I don't know, go and take their SATs. I think that would be very helpful. No.
We approved some money for that, didn't we, last time? Like $3,000 or something?
We'll add a zero.
Oh, $30,000.
Yeah.
We'll be moving forward with that. You know, we definitely want to create a more welcoming environment. We're starting to do that with student artwork. Rancho Cotati High School students have provided some beautiful artwork, and we are asking other schools too.
So for echoing what other members of the board have said, I just want to thank Krissa and Joe for your service and for your dedication. The past 2 years that we've served, as well as, you've served out your full term. And when I signed up for this and threw my hat in the ring, I had no idea the target on your back, the level of dedication and service that you would need. So, I'm very grateful that we've had, the strengths building and the workshops. So we get to see where everyone's strengths are and how they come to the conclusions that they do, and see that it's all driven by the same desire to make the district better. And that's what I think, when I remember and I miss Krissa and Joe being on the board, I will miss their analysis and I'll miss Joe's passion. But I think what I will miss and what people don't see is, I can honestly say that we are now in a district where we have areas, and we run in those areas. And Krissa and Joe have represented the district. They care as much for people in my area as they do for all of the other ones. And I have seen that firsthand, and I'm just grateful for that. I have nothing but respect for the two of you, and I will miss you. But I wish you, success in whatever you continue doing outside of the school board. Thank you.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
You got to add on. So I just wanted to say one more thing. We do talk a lot about how hard this is, and it's kind of a thankless job. But here's my commercial pitch for Area 4 trustee. It's not all bad. You do your best, and you try to move the ship forward, and you think of the kids. And so anyone out there that's currently potentially still watching this tonight, or watching it later, if there's any even little glimmer of hope and you live in L section or Cotati, and you've thought about it at some point, I really, really do encourage you to step up and apply. Any of the 5 of us here are probably happy to answer questions. I know some people say, oh my God, it takes so much time. It does, but it doesn't. You find the time, you make it work. The committees, for the most part, kind of try to work around our schedules a little bit, because we all have full-time jobs. Most of us have kids or grandkids, and so it is very, very doable. There's days that are really hard, but I can honestly say there's more good days than bad days. So if you are even slightly considering it, I would strongly suggest that you throw your name in the hat. It's not as scary as we might try to make people think it is.
A lot of vacation days.
Some months were scary.
Yeah.
But, there were some weeks we were having 3 and 4 meetings.
Yeah, but
So.
it's fun. You should do it. We're a great group of people. Come join us.
There can't be like another natural disaster.
Joe,
or-
don't
Oh,
even
that-
say
I mean,
it.
come on.
Oh my God.
Or,
Shut up. You're done. Can we adjourn
a
the meeting?
global pandemic or anything in the next couple of years.
I'm wearing my zone.
Those are all once in a lifetime
Oh
things
my
we've
God,
been through.
it's my wrist.
Dr. Perez.
Okay, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's going on in the district, and then I want to honor our trustees because I am going to miss them dearly.
Anyway, we had an FPM meeting, we were getting ready for federal progress monitoring, it's really wonderful. We started this a few years ago, someone must have said something, because Sonoma County Office of Education is helping us get organized. So they send us weekly emails to collect the document, so we talk to these wonderful folks that are helping us organize, because we're doing our full-time jobs and preparing for the FPM, so it's really helpful. We just submitted with SSU a teacher residency grant, which what will do that, it will help us identify teachers that are interested in earning the early education credential, which is required for transitional kindergarten. So we're focusing on that, on special education and bilingual folks. So the residency means they open the school with us, they close after the school, kids are gone, and they get some compensation. So they get paid anywhere between $18,000 and $25,000. What a wonderful deal to be in one place, to learn from one mentor teacher, and to get some money. Most of us went through student teaching and we're trying to make money, work 5 or 10 hours and student teach. So this is a wonderful opportunity to really build capacity and create that partnership with Sonoma State. I had coffee with the UELF staff. It was really a lot of fun, informal meeting. Principal invited me over, and we were talking about family nights and all sorts of wonderful things. So it was a great community, just informal on that. We had the Budget Advisory Committee. Thank Mr. Bartolome for doing a really good job presenting, all the ins and outs of the budget. Site visits. I had been to Rancho Cotati High School, Tech High, John Reed, El Camino, UELF, Evergreen, and Monta Vista. So I've been getting around. It's my second round of visits. Also was really excited. One of our new administrators, A to G curriculum specialist, Lucia, invited me to the old Santa Rosa Court Square, and I was able to see a beautiful ofrenda that our students made and put together. They were there at, I think, 6 in the morning, and I arrived at 12, and it was beautiful. It was the Mecha Club and the Student Club. So I had the honor of meeting some of our staff, and Mr. Ortega had organized the kiddos to put together the ofrenda. The $1 Million book giveaway was awesome. The best part of the morning was one of the first graders said, "Will you read this to me?" And of course, I got the little card. It was written in Spanish. I read in Spanish, and he almost did a somersault. He's like, "You know Spanish?" I said, "Yes, I'm bilingual." And he was just thrilled that I could speak his same language. So it was, he was speaking English, but he was so excited. Yesterday I met with Mr., and I don't have his title in front of me, Mr. Elias Lopez, who is part of admissions at Sonoma State. He wants to partner with us so we can provide guaranteed admissions to our seniors at Rancho Cotati High School, if they are interested, or Tech High, and being accepted to Sonoma State. So we're talking about how can we do that. He is going to be attending our meeting with our counselors to get input. We're really excited about that. And we're also talking about planning for the summit. There's a Latino Parent Summit where they provide workshops in Spanish. I am not sure who of our community members or families attend, but we want to see how we can encourage and increase that. Do we provide a bus, in front of John Reed or in front of one of the schools to bring our kiddos and our families? And that is a family affair, so we can bring them to the campus. I think we have an incredibly awesome opportunity that we have a university in our city. So why not plant the seed for our community? So we're working on that. So a lot going on, and now I want to honor our trustees.
Joe Stanton.
So it's been a privilege and honor to work with this phenomenal board, all 5 of you, but I'm really sad to say goodbye to President Chimino, because Joe, you lead with your heart, and you show us every decision that you care about all the children, not only your children, but every child in the district, including our English learners. And I've appreciated that. Not all board members demonstrate their heart in the way that you do. So we have a basket for you of some goodies.
Thank Joe Stanton.
That we hope you will accept an appreciation for your service.
Thank you.
Krista, you have a keen eye, and you are looking at that budget. You are with a fine-tooth comb, but your decisions, you keep the kids first and foremost at the center of every decision you make, and I highly appreciate that. So I'm truly going to miss
thank you for your service and dedication to this community and to this district.
Thank you so
And
much.
hope you accept this little going away gift, but thank you for your service. It's been an honor and a privilege.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's it.
You ready?
I get to do it.